vivacious, the light of the party, just a bright shining light. That's it. This one is, I think she was like, it's about 3 or 4 on this picture. This is the youngest one I got. But she was laid back on the couch. Honey, yes Lord. She was a prankster. She loved pulling pranks on everybody. She get her brother and her sister the most because she know I don't like that. Oh my God, she was so happy it was a girl. She had 2 boys. She was so excited. She was already getting baby stuff. She was in the middle. She probably was about 11 or 12 on this one. They approved her housing, low-income housing in Sandusky, and the letter came yesterday. And I just found that out by her aunt yesterday. And that kind of hurt me to my core because she was waiting for that letter. She'd have been so happy with that 3-4 bedroom house with them kids and that new baby. It would have just been her little deluxe apartment in the sky. You know what I'm saying? She'd have been happy. So many plans that she had is taken away because of that man. Yeah.
7 back in service, 1828.
Get out of the car. Then get out. No, then get out.
Get out of the car.
Get out of the car.
Get out of the
Out of the car.
What?
Out of the car. They said you stole stuff, do not leave. Get out of the car. Then get out. No.
I seen a scared young lady, pregnant, unarmed, turn the car away from the police and got killed by the police. That's what I saw.
The offenses that we're talking about with Takaya are of such a minor nature, and it's frustrating because it's what we deal with as black and brown people in this country, is that our most minor offenses are brought out to justify our deaths.
We're going to have a 34 on the customer mouth. He's going to be at.
Just celebrate her life, celebrate the person y'all knew her to be, and that would make me happy, and I know it'll make her happy. She'll be dancing on them clouds.
Yes, we are back here in the second hour, 7:26 p.m. Central Standard Time on 9/8/2023. I am Scott Cannon. This is My Country with Scott Cannon on Issues and Answers Friday, WLTH 1370 AM. If you can't get 1370 or the transmission's really bad, then tune in to 92.7 FM. If that ain't working out for you, you can always go to WLTHradio.com, watch on there, or you can just check me out here on Facebook. I'm looking at myself right here. WLTH Radio here on Facebook, live in color. You can see me chilling here in the studio. What you just heard was the family and lawyer, well, the mother and the lawyer of Takaya Young, or Takia Young. I think they said Takaya. She is the young woman who was shot by the police last week, or the week before last. Now, to provide some context, our friends over at the Associated Press have said that the police in Columbus, in a Columbus Ohio suburb, fatally shot a pregnant woman in an Ohio supermarket parking lot after she accelerated her car towards an officer. Police officials said Takaya Young of Columbus died on Thursday evening in Blendon, Ohio. A supermarket employee told the officers who were at the store on an unrelated matter that people were fleeing from the store with stolen items. Blendon Police Chief John Belford said. That included Young, who had allegedly taken multiple bottles of alcohol. One officer went to the driver's side of Young's car and told her to stop, Belford said, while the other officer moved in front of the vehicle. Young then put the car in gear and accelerated forward, Belford said, and the officer directly in the vehicle's path fired one shot through the windshield. Young's car then traveled about 50 feet before coming to a stop on the sidewalk outside the store. She was pronounced dead a short time later. Young was due to give birth in November, her family told the Columbus Dispatch, and her unborn daughter, unfortunately, did not survive the shooting. Young was the mother of two sons, ages 6 and 3. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is leading the investigation into the fatal shooting, Belford said. The names of the two officers and further information about them, including their ages and races, have not been released. They are on paid administrative leave while the shooting is investigated, which is standard procedure in such incidents, Belford said. Now, the shooting was captured on police body cam video. I just played a little bit of it. You could hear it. I know you guys can't see it over the radio. Young's family told the Columbus Dispatch that they have many questions about the shooting, mainly why she was deemed a lethal threat. Now, let me just be the first to say that, well, I'm not going to be the first to say that, but let me just say firstly that this was an extremely tragic death that really could have been and should have been avoided in many ways. This has really become a sort of reoccurring issue in our society, in our world, where you have these shootings that happen, or these sort of confrontations with the police between black people and the police, and a lot of times they don't turn out good. And let me just say, I'm not even just going to limit it to black people. We all know that America's police, in comparison to other countries, are very trigger happy. And so, you know, this is very much a tragic situation. But as I watched the police video and the body camera, and I watched the footage, I can't help but think that ultimately I don't see what case the family has, in all honesty. From what I'm seeing on the video, the police told her to get out the vehicle. She said, "No, I'm not doing that." Police officer stands in front of her car, and she starts accelerating, and the police officer who's standing in front of the car shoots one time through the windshield and kills her, unfortunately. Now, again, we've had a lot of different instances where the police shot somebody who was unarmed, or shot somebody who was not a threat, or in the case of George Floyd, kneed on their neck for 10 minutes. But to me, this isn't that type of incident. I know this is becoming a sort of media story over the last week or two, but I really have to impart upon, hopefully if there's any young people listening to this show, you have to know that if you drive a car towards a police officer, they're going to shoot you, right? Especially if they have their gun drawn. You have to know that. You know, a car is a deadly weapon. Cars kill more people than guns do, I think, in this country, if I'm not mistaken. It's pretty close, I know. I know drunk drivers kill as many people as get murdered with guns in this country. So it's about 10,000 each. About 10,000 people get murdered with cars. Get murdered with guns, and about 10,000 end up dying at the hands of drunk drivers. So it's pretty close. It's close in vicinity in terms of the number. A car is a dangerous weapon that kills tens of thousands of people in this country every year. If you drive at somebody especially if they have a gun, and especially if they're a police officer and have qualified immunity and have some leeway to shoot you, they probably will shoot you. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't feel sad about what happened to Miss Young. I think there's a whole lot of reasons. If you listen to the video, her mother said that she was trying to move into low-income public housing. We talk about this all the time here on this show, about why I support reparations for the African-American community. And it's for situations like this. Because we have hundreds of years of wealth missing from our community. This is what a lot of black people feel like they have to resort to survive. Low income housing and, you know, a quick come up, whether it's, cutting hair on the side, doing hair on the side. Back in the days, it was selling bootleg DVDs. I guess people still do on some level sell bootleg DVDs. I still see them at the hair place and stuff, the hair places in some places. And bootleg CDs back when people still bought CDs. Like, we have a community of people who are like living on the margins. And that's what happens when you don't have intergenerational wealth. Why don't we have intergenerational wealth? Hundreds of years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, redlining that has prevented us from gaining equity into our homes. Things like white flight deindustrialization, particularly being weaponized against us, and mass incarceration being aimed and weaponized against us as a community. So I'm just saying we can look at these factors. I watched this really great video last night, actually, called How the U.S. Government Destroyed Black Families. And it went into depth about the man of the house rule that came about with the Great Society programs, which I have a lot of respect for. You know, black poverty was 60% when LBJ took office in 1963. By 1970, it was less than 30%. Cut in half in about 7 years. Okay? So I'm not going to sit here and dog out the welfare state or dog out social programs, because they did work. But the one thing that they did wrong that was proven to be very detrimental to the black family was the man of the house rule, where they said if you have a man in the house, you are not eligible for benefits at all. So if a man lost his job, if his family wanted to get benefits, he had to leave his family in order to do that. And so that they could have something to eat if he could not provide that for them. And they would send social workers to black households to make sure that there was no man living there. Now, like I said, I support welfare mostly because the rest of the world shows that it works. You know, this is why I always encourage you guys who listen to this show. Look at the rest of the world. Look at Western Europe. Look at the great democracies of the world, and they are much more generous with the social welfare state than we are, and they have much less violent societies. They have much better physical, mental, psychological health, less all the horrific. They're healthier, happier societies than ours are. If you look at the happiest, healthiest societies in the world, they are basically welfare states. That's a fact. Go to any list of the happiest, healthiest countries in the world. They are full of states that take care of people who are poor and working class on some level. The United States has this very entrenched, I guess it's puritanical, maybe it came from the Puritans. If you don't work, you don't eat. Or, you know, that is very much poor people are all lazy and don't want to work and on the dole, etc. They don't deserve to eat. You know, there's always has to be a way to punish people who are struggling. And so because of that, Americans especially a lot of people who live in the ghetto, are built with this hustler mentality. It's always about getting over on somebody else. And so we have generations of people who are looking to get over on somebody and looking for the next come up, the quick come up. Can I, now it's things like OnlyFans. How many of y'all know about OnlyFans? OnlyFans is a platform, an internet online platform where a lot of women, even young women, are selling their bodies basically, either by doing pornography or by stripping and being, taking naked pictures and selling them on the internet. That's the new hustle for young women. For a lot of men, like hip hop has become a hustle. Obviously selling drugs, And so there's this sort of hustler mentality because America does not take care of its own people, and it leads to this sort of tragic desperation that we see in cases like this. So I like to look at the social implications and the sort of social things that go into cases like the Takaya Young situation, where the sister had to go through all that just to get to some low-income housing. She had 2 children, As I always, I talked about I think this was about a few months ago. I want to say maybe it was in July, I think, where I talked about how I believe it was Denmark that ended homelessness by giving people homes. That's it. They just gave them homes. They said, here's some place to live. You have counseling. And most of those people ended up back in the job market and ended up back on their feet just because they lived in a society that gave a damn about them. We could easily have that. That's why I support Brother West. He supports the type of enlightened domestic policy that we talked about. We could accomplish a lot if we weren't sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. If we weren't constantly at war, didn't constantly have a military industrial complex and a prison industrial complex that is there to make money for the elites while the working class and the poor get exploited. So this is just a tragic, tragic situation all around. I feel for Miss Takaya Young's family, but I just don't see how they're going to win this case. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. I just don't see how they're going to win this case. When she drove the car at the guy, they told her to get out the car. She refused to do it and drove towards the police officer. In most instances, you're going to get shot in that situation. It's sad to say, but it is. I don't even know if a grand jury would take this case up, to be 100% honest. Let me take this call. Hello, caller.
Hey, my brother, how you doing?
It's all good.
One of the things I learned in school and had to sort of research on my own is the business of America is business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's bottom line. Don't care about the poor. Are we making money?
Mm-hmm.
What I look at, and it's a magical word, kind of has sort of a couple of meanings that I can bring to mind right now, and it's a little word called interest. Now, you and I go out and get a car loan, we have to pay a principal, but we're also paying interest. Now, the bank told me that they would not have repossessed my car if I paid the interest. I didn't have to pay the principal. I just had to pay the interest. What's most important is the interest. So on the other side of that word, I look at what's the interest behind the war in Ukraine. It's more than just these people don't like these people,
right?
There's more to it.
Absolutely.
The luxury we have is, a brother like yourself who researches and goes beyond what ABC, CBS, and the rest will want to tell us. And it's important that we do our own research, that we can find out, okay, why are they really sending all of this money?
Mm-hmm.
Every president's got to have a war. He can't be president.
Yep.
And he don't have the ability to say, well, we're not going to have a war. I don't care which one it was, whether you was black or white or, and through my research, if you go back and research which president caused the most harm to black people, it was Obama.
Mm.
But we don't want to say that out loud.
We do not.
Ooh, because if we say that out loud, well, your mama's black, and the shame. You got to listen to the shame first. You come from a black family. Well, still, I get criticized in my black family. I criticize people in my black family. Is he part of the black family? He needs to be criticized and understand what he did. I don't know if he brought in anything. Has black America changed over those 8 years, or did he get
We got
worse?
poor. We got poor during his 8 years in office.
Yeah. But the excitement of having a black president, and see, I've been a president of a corporation. America is a corporation. It has a CEO, it has vice president, but it has a board of directors. And that board of directors does more than that executive office can do. But we don't want, we're not teaching that in high school to our children. We got to teach them about, George Washington was the first president. No, there was 8 black presidents before him. They don't want to teach that part. So it's required upon us. I take my responsibility for my children and my grandchildren so that they won't be able to say that Grandpa did not tell them. Now, they can say they didn't follow, but, because my father told me, he said, son, if you don't shave, you'll never have to shave. I heard him, because you hear me repeating it, but I didn't listen. And there's a difference between hearing and listening. And we're not ready for that conversation, I don't think. We want to feel good, make me feel good, tantalize my ear, much like on Sunday morning, tantalize my ear, but don't give me any marching orders when I leave the church.
Right.
Long as you make me feel good, sister ran through, she lost her weave, she lost some of them buffalo eyelashes. She knocked over she blinked one eye and knocked over the Bible off the pulpit. Ran through, lost that cap, that weave, but everybody felt good. But she left with no marching orders. She left, well, how do you not have a baby? Where are the elder women who supposedly were part of the village to be able to show young women, hey, you don't carry before you marry. Oh, yeah, does it happen? Yes. But the idea is you want to be able to marry, have children with the man, stay with the man, because, old sister stayed with the man. Now, you discovered at the funeral that he had other family elsewhere, but I don't care, Big Mama, and she still got a chair for him today, sitting at the Thanksgiving table. So, but we cry about, oh, I don't want to hurt the children's feelings. Well, wait till the child come back and hurt you. I'd rather hurt the child's feeling now than, for him to come back, because children will come back and say, thank you for giving me the correct information. We feed them so much junk. We feed them Christmas, Easter, we celebrate Juneteenth, and that doesn't happen. You can tell how you know why that ain't no good.
Why?
Because they made it a holiday.
Right.
It's strictly business now.
Right.
When they make something a holiday, it ain't worth nothing. It's gone. You might as well stop celebrating it because it ain't worth nothing. It don't mean anything because it's a national holiday. They give you a day off. Any day when they started celebrating Martin Luther King, it kind of lost its the juice behind Martin Luther King.
Right.
But because now it's just a day off. It's not a day off for me because I work all of them holidays. Because there's big money in there because many people won't.
Right.
But the idea of once Juneteenth Kwanzaa becomes a holiday, Martin Luther, all of that is big business. Who in New York City, where do they have the Kwanzaa celebration? At the Jacob Javits Center. They don't have it down in Harlem.
Wow.
There's 3 black folks left in Harlem now.
Yeah.
Rescue me when I'm wrong. Right? It's just the 3. But we won't research on our own. We'll wait till somebody else tells. Well, I was watching the news, and they said it's okay to go out and get a vaccination. Oh, but Tom Brokaw said it.
Mm-hmm.
When Walter Cronkite died, so many people were upset. They say because he told us the best stories. Wait a minute, he told us the best stories. Did he tell you the truth? And was he honest with the truth? Well, what do you mean honest with the truth? Well, man and woman goes into the motel and the clerk asks, "Are the 2 of y'all married?" They say, "Yeah, we're married." They told the truth, but they didn't tell that they were married to somebody else.
Well, all right. And thank you for your call. We got to go to a break. I got to mop up. But thank you for your call, brother.
Yes, sir.
It's all good. All right, folks. When we get back, I got to get out of here. Can't believe 2 hours already. Please stay with us here. WLTH 1370 AM. I'll be right back after these.